What is up, YouTube? It's me, Kakarot, and today we're going to discuss my post and a bit of an update on my Think Before You Sleep versus Animations video. But eventually, I got a comment stating, and this is a woke person, by the way, because woke means nonsense to some people, so I'll use it myself to describe its true definition. Woke people, aka fat shamers, people who are political and police supporters, are very much problematic. Like, you have people who literally commented on my last video saying that, oh, it's like jumping off a building. How is being like 200, 300 pounds like jumping off a building? Like, I'm just asking, how is being a certain weight similar to jumping off a building? Like, if you jump off a building and survive, you're disfigured. If you're simply 2 to 300 pounds, you're not disfigured. I mean, you may have health complications, but it's not certain. In fact, when I get it, this guy referenced the data. What data? The science that you guys are glazing like shit? I'll tell you what, you guys treat science like girls in the 60s treated the Beatles, Like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. And so it gets old. Now, even though this is only one commenter that I had a small debate with, I said I wouldn't debate, I'm a little more open now. And I do plan to put the commenter as the thumbnail, because you cannot fix stupid. You cannot fix people who clearly stand by a YouTuber. Because let's face it, I've seen people who are so biased that they'll stand with their idols anyway. This guy, I think, may have had Think Before You Sleep as an idol. Something that he probably saw as God or a king or something. And if this starts a little rivalry, I don't care, I hope it doesn't, but if it does, whatever. And in the end, if you were to tell me all these things, like, you learn that. Now, I'm also going to address a different guy. Someone said that Google has over 6K links. I can only show 5 fingers because the other one's holding my phone. So therefore, it is a valuable tool for learning. And this is because I debated with them over police. They believe police were good because they help people and police brutality isn't common. Well, welcome to the real world, where police brutality is probably more common than in police who don't brutalize, if not all. So, and as they say, one bad apple ruins the bunch. Well, this took 5 bad apples who showed up and chose to speak to me in a way that was very poor. All because I told my parents that I don't believe people should have kids, and I really don't. Because the more kids we have, the more criminals, cops, whatever we have. The more Andrew Tates we have, the more Think Before You Sleeps we have. And so, honestly, I call these people, actually I can't even say the word, but because they're too busy giving the police and fat shamers their BJs. They're too busy giving BJs to these people that they idolize and use Google rather than going to the source. With Google, you don't learn anything. Like, I want to put you through a scenario here. Let's suppose you're about to become a heart surgeon. I mean, you could go to college, except college doesn't have the 60K links Google does, or 6K, whatever. Maybe more. And so, with Google being that reliable, why do we even need college? I mean, wouldn't it make more sense if we could just go to Google? Maybe have a little Chromebook in the operating room while we operation and pray to God that they don't die? You tell me how that makes any sense. The answer, it doesn't. So, what is the point of this video? The point is to knock off the glazing, is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to tell the glazers that while they can easily make a point and have their opinions based on their idols and the people they value versus people who have lived for many centuries with 2 to 300 pounds, it's become official. And what about those in muscle? Like, you have been 200 pounds of muscle, and you're claiming that they are healthy, which I'm not saying they aren't. But let's look at the complications of too much muscle. Muscle can also weigh you down. Muscle can also cause strain as you work out, and it can cause issues with the heart, just like being fat can. Different issues, but still issues. Now, of course, I'm just going to Google on this like everyone else. Not really. And if I do, I'll probably make it the thumbnail. But if not, then, yeah. So apparently, and the post I made was also on behalf of the science glazers, because let's face it, they're everywhere, in the words of SpongeBob. And in the words of Thomas, they cause confusion and delay, or stop now, whatever. Basically, the point of all this is they need to learn real world facts and stop glazing. Like, I know fat people who've lived a long time. So therefore, the argument that science and data, or the way is, I find it hilarious, because science isn't going to hammer in a screw. Oh wait, you can't hammer in a screw, see? Science isn't going to tell you everything about the English language. I suppose you're a foreigner. You think science is going to tell you how to speak English? No. It's language. And of course, Karen, I've said it myself, I do not trust science. Okay? I may trust some of it, but the science I trust, I'm able to confirm with a source aside from Google or a YouTuber. And in fact, I've seen other YouTubers not just think before you sleep, but also Yinka, that guy who, and of course Harry Hare, who I'm actually a fan of, not gonna lie, unlike the first two. But Harry Hare, and he makes good points, even though he just has one line really. What? Oh, shout out to him. And this isn't meant to mock him, by the way. I actually like his stuff. But eventually, when all is said and done, my only request is stop glazing. Okay? Stop glazing law enforcement. If you want to have an opinion and say they're good because they gave you a couple apples as a kid, good. You can have your opinions about doctors. If you think they're good because they kissed your boo-boos, good. And of course, this isn't really doctors themselves, because, if I had a broken arm, I'd want to go. But, and here's another thing, mental health. If you were to take the word mental health is not a joke and plaster it on a wall, I personally would plaster tape over the word not. Because let's face it, it is a joke. It's been a punchline since the 20th century. In the 20th century, people have been joking about mental health. And the people nowadays who are so woke are going to cry about it, saying, mental health is important. What are you doing? And it's not. There's a phrase that I believe should apply to those who are unstable, myself included. Toughen up, buttercup, when you're an addict. And I'm going to say the same thing, toughen up. Because guess what? Addiction is also something that doesn't really exist, which I may make a video on in itself, which won't really be much different than this one. But I will say, to the people who, and of course, if you get mad because I use them as a thumbnail, good, be mad. But anyways, eventually glazing, the point is, glazing is an issue. Now, psychologists, to me, have one, maybe two jobs. Sit on their ass and tell you what to do. Like, real doctors are seen patching wounds and showing you up. And if we had less psychologists and less psychiatrists, less therapists and more physical doctors, we would have focus on cancer research or how to fix genetic disorders. But do we? No. So therefore, the so-called scientists that you're simping for, or not simping for, glazing, are gonna be the same people who aren't hearing the health issues that you're talking about so much. Instead, they're going to be too busy worried about fixing people's feelings and prescribing them meds and doing all this. Anyways, I hope you guys listened somewhat. You probably didn't make it this far, and if you did, I give you props. Okay? We'll make a video on addiction itself later. Bye.